outside and I take a deep breath and I get real. Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to the gym and we're gonna practice our inversions and arm balances, baby. So we're going to the gym, yeah, and we're gonna see if I can get through these cars. Okay. All right, someone's turning around in the middle of the road. So it's gonna be fun. Let me fix this. I hope that we can get there within a reasonable amount of time because I don't want this video to be too long, but I want it to be just enough time for information to get through to you. Right? Alright, so I'm gonna stop doing that accent. A couple things that I like to think about before I practice yoga is my body ready? Is it ready for this? So the first step is to get your body ready. One of those things is having a clear mental space. Another is making sure you're not completely full of food, but that you've eaten at least 2 hours, 3 hours before for energy. Because you need that energy. We need energy, but we don't need that acid reflux, which does happen to me. So, this is first thing in the morning. I'm going to be doing yoga fasted, which is a pretty normal thing to do back in the ancient times. And I know that there is a speculation that yoga teachers don't eat food. And I think that might have a kernel of truth. It's just when you're working with the core and when you're working with going upside down, remaining calm, you don't really want to be distracted internally. So you want to be at like a pretty good starting point where nothing is really happening in your body as far as digestion. Anyways, that was a long-winded phrase. Anyways, I'm doing it fasted this morning just because I woke up just now and I don't have enough time to wait before jumping up and down and all over the damn place. You want to make sure that you're mentally ready, that you're physically ready, and you want to find a good space. For your space, you want to know the room, know the layout, get rid of any obstructions that may be in the way of your mat. I would say about a arm's width or like a wingspan distance around your mat of your arms, just in case you fall, which is a part of the practice. We love that part of the practice because you learn how to exit a pose safely, and I'll talk about that more. But excuse me, my arm is getting tired, huh? So you want to be able to exit the pose safely. So you want to know your environment. Oh no, am I going by a school zone? You want to be mentally ready, you want to be physically ready, and you want a good space to practice. So we're going to the gym today, and I love aerobics rooms because they're secluded and they have a lot of space and they have mirrors. So if you have that option, going to an in-person class or maybe being able to go into a gym's aerobics room if they let you, that is choice. So we have the space. How I get mentally ready is I try and focus my mind in little ways beforehand. So I listen to music on the way to work and on the way to practice everything, just to get my mind in a space of focus and calm. So the music doesn't have to be calm, in my opinion. During the practice, I like to have music that doesn't have any noise, okay? So when we get there, I'll show you more. I forgot that this gym is closed. It's so fucking closed today. So we're gonna try and go to this other rec center, and if it's a bust, I'm gonna bust my freaking brain cell. Look at that sun. We have a scene change. I'm at a park. I couldn't do my workout at the gym, couldn't do my practice at the gym, which is fine. So we're gonna warm up here at the park. If you can hear geese and kids, that's because they are aplenty. What I like to do for my warm-ups is a little bit of anything. I focus on warming up all parts of my body. It's very intuitive. You can do a 10 to 20 minute practice on YouTube, or just move, get yourself nice and warm. I'm also in the sun, which I'm loving. So first step, get warm. Before I start moving, I really find a place of meditation, centering myself, again, finding that focus. This series of moves that I'm doing can also be done at the end of your workout for counter poses and just releasing all that energy that you built up from moving around so much. I always incorporate side bends and heart openers at the beginning of my practice as well as the end, because they just feel so dang good in the body, and we really just want to stretch out our arms and get ready for all the movement that we're bringing in. I enjoy warming up dynamically just to, again, build more heat faster, as well as get my body used to these ranges of motion. I incorporate upward facing dog and downward facing dog in my warm-up, but if you are not open enough for that yet, then you can do the slightly modified versions of this with your knees on the ground and bent. I also do push-ups because it will warm up my arms and my core, and it makes me feel really strong before I start balancing or going upside down. Doing heel kicks towards my glutes warms me up as well, just because there's a lot of jumping, and it also centers my focus, my gaze, where my eye line is, and as well as the direction of my body. I feel good starting with lunges, as well as moving from lunge to warrior 2, then to wide-legged stance, and then back to my warrior 2, lunge, and then moving back and forth between these 3 really opens my hips and gets me ready for stretching. I threw in a little reverse there just because I wanted a bit more action, and then I did a wide-legged forward fold to a malasana. Now that we're warm, we can practice. So I like to practice with my forearm stand. What I like to focus on with my forearm stand is really having my fingers planted and spread. Make sure you have the most control at that moment before you try and kick up the other leg. It's all about feeling everything stacking in your body for you to move forward with the pose, okay? For arm stand, I will start in a low plank and then move to a dolphin pose, kicking one leg up at a time, and of course I will do this on both sides. During this time, I notice where the weight is going, if it's going past my head or if it's going towards my hands, and then finding a middle spot to where I can bring the feet together and then split them to the other side, just for more practice. Hey, holy moly, my camera stopped recording. Haha, so we're gonna do that again. Pincha, and what I like to do with pincha is do it with split legs, and then I will switch the legs by bringing them in the middle, and that gives me a really good practice of finding the balance with everything. And then moving on from pincha, I'm gonna try scorpion, which is bringing my feet to my head, which requires me to shift my gaze from behind me to slightly in front of me, okay? So I'm still working on scorpion pose. It is one of my challenges that I put towards a part of my practice. So I don't have it mastered, of course, but it's all a part of the process. If I do start to get frustrated, then I will come to a child's pose and kind of regroup and then try again. I got slightly closer this time, but my back leg did go too far forward and I ended up in wheel. Oh well. So scorpion is really hard, and I've been practicing for a while, so when you're working on things that are really difficult and you're using a lot of energy, remember to be patient with yourself. Don't force anything. I'm gonna move on from scorpion for today. Okay, next up, we're gonna practice handstand. I like to do handstand a couple of ways. Kicking up with one leg, letting the other follow, and then also doing butt kicks, making a ball with my body and finding that balance in this area. I really feel the balance in my hips and in my core. It directs where my pelvis is facing, and that will ultimately help me stack my bones. My bones. I like to start this in a plank down dog type shape, keeping it very long and enough room for my legs to kick up and then meet in the middle. I haven't quite gotten my legs and hips to completely stack over my shoulders, but it has given me enough room to find a little bit of balance. Same with the butt kicks. As you can see, my hips are going over my shoulders. It's just getting those darn legs up. Eventually, I'll start donkey kicking for a little bit more core work. I have a lot more luck with kicking up because there's more force involved. And then with the butt kicks, it's mostly for practice, being able to balance, bringing almost a line of energy through this part of your body so that you can really find that hasta bandha, the hand lock, and ultimately hold yourself up. So from here, we can practice crow pose, which is one of my favorites. The thing with crow pose is you really want to be aware of where your arms are, where your knees are, and where your gaze is. So when you stack your knees on top of your elbows, you need to feel very sturdy in that before you start to lift up your feet. Because if you start unstable, then it's just gonna stay unstable. So make sure you have that hand block. Make sure you have the gaze internally of your focus to really get you there. So we'll do crow pose, and then that will lead into flying crow. The difference with that is your weight is shifting from these 2 points to 1 point, and you're using the weight of your body on these 3 areas to lift up your back leg. Okay, let's try it out. Start this pose with your arms shoulder width distance apart, preferably in a forward fold with your hands on the ground, bringing your knees to the backs of your arms. Maintain your focus, choosing the right time to really lift one of the legs up, and then gently let yourself back down. Trying multiple times, getting a feel in your body. Option to bring your head to the ground, pushing into your hands, lifting your legs to tripod headstand. Knees come back to the arms, and you push into the hands, lifting to your crow, and I jump to chaturanga, and then upward dog. How I transition out of crow pose is either through tripod headstand or kicking back to chaturanga. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do headstand transitioning into pincha. And what I'm going to do is split my legs, because it's just so easy to try inversions with split legs. And then I'm gonna focus on the points of my toes in order to keep my balance as I push up and straighten my arms from here to here. Okay, so let's give it a try. Make a basket with your hands. Don't put your head fully in the basket. You want the pinkies to not obstruct the balance of your head before you go up. And then pushing into the elbows, we find our headstand and then lift to pincha. Keeping the balance of the split legs, and then maybe finding an upright position with the feet and then splitting them again. I came down into a wide-legged forward fold. Okay, so that was fun. What I'm focusing on when I'm transitioning there is the pressure that I'm putting on my knuckles or the sides of my hands. Similar to when you're going into headstand, you want most of the weight to be in your hands and elbows, away from your head. You're just kind of expanding that and pushing up with more force to bring you to pincha. We can go for half moon and reverse moon. So what I'm focusing on here is going to be my torso, as well as where my feet is, as well as where my feet are, and the position of my hips. So I'm gonna be gently moving through reverse and half moon, but it's important that you really tune into the sensation in your hips, because some people believe that changing your hips from this position to this position is a little bit dicey. I don't feel that in my body, but you just really have to listen to your own body in this one, okay? So I'm gonna start out in Warrior 3 actually. I like starting in Warrior 3 because it's a good way to find your gaze. And then I slightly look to the right and let my arms open, finding my balance, at which point I will turn to the opposite way to find half moon. Some people will look towards their top hand. I haven't found that yet. It's a bit more challenging. And then I will reach back for my foot to find Shavasana candy cane pose. Back to half moon, and we're done. That last part there, where I put my hand onto the ground, usually people start with their hands on the ground as well as their foot. I like to hover my hand. It's a little bit harder from what I've heard, but it really gives me most of the focus in my legs without distracting myself with, oh, am I putting enough pressure in my arm or things like that. Another thing that I'm focusing on when I'm changing from reverse to half moon is where am I looking, guiding my body where my shoulders are going. So that one is a really fun one. Let's try one more. Let's try Super Soldier. And this one is a little bit difficult, but I'm gonna make it a little harder because I'm gonna grab onto my ankle compared to keeping my hand on the ground. If you do this, you can do this in standing split or half moon as well, grabbing your ankle. You want your grasp to be light, because if you make it hard,
then you're gonna trick your brain into being like, oh, I'm grabbing this for stability, when in reality, it's not giving you any stability in my mind, because it's moving and shifting slightly just to, you know, do all that shit. So let me show you.
Starting Super Soldier in a lizard pose, I bring one arm underneath my knee and then reach for my back foot, applying pressure to my standing leg. Once I find my gaze, I will shift my hand that is on the ground to my ankle. This is counting as an inversion because my knee is higher than my heart. And we will gently let go of the pose in our own time, being mindful of where we place our hand and foot down.
Let me show you what it looks like from the other point of view here.
Like a lot of balancing postures, this is heavily focused on gaze. I am looking slightly to the other side of my standing foot, just so I can really hit home that the balance is in the middle of my body where that standing foot is.
So especially with that one, you want to be careful where your hands are going and where your feet are going, because you're all twisted up and you don't want to fall on the ground. But if you do fall, just try to expand your arms out so that you have the most room to catch yourself with. Yeah, Super Soldier took me a little bit to work on, but like everything, it's just practice. Thank you for watching all these arm balances and inversions. I hope you got some good advice from them, and have a great day. Love you.